You won't believe what Donald Trump just posted on Truth Social. He's bragging about the 24-karat gold used in the Oval Office and says that foreign leaders freak out when they see it. Meanwhile, he's taking school lunches from children, and now he's trying to take health care from millions of people.
Government is shut down, but I want you to think about three numbers: 4, 24, and 50. 4 million people are about to lose healthcare coverage altogether. 24 million people who use the ACA will see their cost go up. And nearly 50% of all small businesses and employees get their healthcare through the ACA, including a quarter of American farmers. You see, every time there's a crisis, Trump and the Republicans use it to grab more power and pit us against each other. This time, they've shut down the government because Democrats won't let them steal healthcare, fire civil servants, and make us give up on democracy. But what can we do? Be loud.
Tragically, we have a two-bit demagogue who is president of the United States right now. And he understands that his policies are failing, prices are going up. He's trying to defend a healthcare package which will throw 15 million people off the healthcare they have and double premiums for 20 million Americans. He can't defend that, and he knows that. So what he's doing now is running around the country, threatening to arrest the governor of the state of Illinois, to arrest the mayor of the city of Chicago, to go after a United States senator, threaten to investigate him, go after the Attorney General, Letitia James, in New York, the former FBI director. So this is a guy who can't bring positive change to working people. But what he can do is terrorize the country, be an all-powerful type of guy, undermine the Constitution, undermine the rule of law. So we got a message from Mr. Trump.
Abdul al-Sayed in America here, where our government is shut down for the second day in a row because Donald Trump wants to spike the price of healthcare for millions of people. That's really what this fight is about. Because if you didn't know, Donald Trump's got a headlock on all of government. And one of the things he did with that headlock is, in the big ugly bill, he erased subsidies that millions of Americans don't even know that they have for their health insurance. Those subsidies are critical to keeping health insurance attainable. And not to say that's even that attainable in our corporate ass backwards healthcare system. But it is a lifeline for millions of people, keeping their healthcare at least at a price that they can barely afford. But when those things go away, folks are about to watch their healthcare costs double, maybe even triple for some families. And if that happens, they're going to go without healthcare. So Donald Trump and his MAGA folk think that somehow Democrats owe them a vote. Democrats don't owe MAGA shit. What they owe is the American public the responsibility of keeping healthcare attainable. And that's exactly what the shutdown's about.
So I'm going to make this shutdown rhetoric real simple. Budget items before the Senate, like the budget bill, because the budget runs to October 1st to September 30th. That's the federal budget year. Okay? All they require is a majority vote. The Republicans have a majority in the Senate. They have a majority in the House. They have the presidency. They have the Supreme Court. They control the entire government. If they wanted to pass this budget, they could. And all they would have to do is get rid of the filibuster. And how would they do that? They say, well, the filibuster does not apply towards budgetary items. Remember all that stuff under Biden when you had the reconciliation bill and the budget this, and, Kamala Harris would end up being the tie-breaking vote because she was vice president? Yeah, you just need 50. That's it. 50 and a tiebreaker. But why do they want Democrats to go along with it? Well, because they know they are going to raise healthcare premiums by 75 to 100% on tens of millions of Americans. And they want Democrats to go along with it because that's their only hope to say, we're not completely for the billionaires and the elites.
And I said, hey man, there's no cameras around here. I just want to understand. I'm not here to put you on blast in front of a camera, just person to person. I genuinely want to understand because people think that trying to understand another person means that you agree with them or that you're being soft on them. And it's a huge problem in this day and age because that mentality really prevents people from being able to connect and persuade. But I pulled this guy aside and I said, hey man, like, I know that you represent a couple of rural hospitals, and this bill is going to devastate rural hospitals. I just want to know from your perspective, are you worried about that? What are you thinking about with your hospitals and your people? Because a lot of people don't know, like a ton of ACA recipients are in red states. A lot of Medicaid recipients are in red states. These are like Trump voters that are almost disproportionately, in many circumstances, being negatively affected. And so I said, like, walk me through how you see this. And he was like, yeah, I just don't believe it.
The Trump supporters out there really think that things have gotten better since Donald Trump became president-elect. They really think that. Just the other day, the president of Honduras said they might expel the U.S. military over Donald Trump's deportation threats. Greenland is now spending over $1 billion more on their military after Donald Trump suggested invading them. We're now beefing with Panama because Donald Trump suggested invading them and taking the Panama Canal. And then Colombia defended Panama against us. Mexico and Canada, we almost got into a trade war with those countries because Donald Trump threatened to impose 25% tariffs on those countries. I mean, everything is collapsing. Everything that Donald Trump goes near gets worse. Not to mention the fact that Donald Trump acknowledged in an interview that his tariffs are going to raise your costs and that lowering grocery prices are going to be very hard. He's completely backing down on the key campaign promises he made. Now, just to be clear, everybody that voted for Harris saw this coming. We knew this would happen. We knew exactly how it was going to play out, and they did it anyway. And now they're still celebrating it as if things have gotten better. They're living in MAGA fantasy land. Wake up.
Never forget that elections have consequences. For one city in Nebraska, they're learning that shit the hard way. Curtis, Nebraska has a population of 806. It's the kind of place with a single traffic light, one health clinic, and a fuck ton of American flags. And in 2024, over 85% of them voted for Donald Trump. Now, their only medical clinic is shutting down by September 30th of this year. It's the kind of place people went for everything. For checkups, blood work, urgent care, you name it, that's where they went. And once it's gone, they'll be looking at a 40-mile round trip just to see a doctor. So who have they decided to blame? Not Trump, not the Republican Party. They're blaming the hospital executives. Like this is some sort of isolated business failure and not the direct result of the GOP's big, beautiful bill that gutted Medicaid and rural healthcare funding. That bill slashed nearly $1 trillion from Medicaid. Small-town hospitals like Curtis's, they were the first ones thrown under the bus. And the GOP knew it was coming. And now look where these people are. Sick, stranded, and still making excuses for the guy who signed their death warrant. But this is the cost of voting for the con man, guys. Your taxes don't get you care. Your vote doesn't get you help. It just buys you a slower, more painful collapse. So when you say you support law and order and protecting life, but watch your hospital close down under a president you put...
Trump just royally screwed up the entire government shutdown by openly admitting that it's not going in his favor and that the expiring of the healthcare enhanced credits is a bad thing. He just admitted that, and now the Democrats have literally one job to do, and that is hold the line. Let me explain. Trump recently tried to claim that he's in negotiations right now with Democrats on ending this government shutdown, and Chuck Schumer was like, hey, that's just a blatant lie. So then Trump recently said today, as of this recording, that he is willing to work with the Democrats on extending those healthcare enhanced tax credits, which is what will cause millions, tens of millions of Americans to lose their healthcare. He is willing to work with the Democrats on extending that, but they have to first agree to end the government shutdown.
Seen a lot of people that still aren't quite sure what to make of this whole shutdown thing, so I'm gonna put it to you real fucking simple. This is all on the Republicans. They own the House, they own the Senate, they own the fucking presidency. They chose this. Democrats came to them with an easy ask. Get rid of the Medicaid cuts from the big bullshit bill and continue funding the Affordable Care Act tax credit so that millions of Americans don't get whacked with higher insurance costs. And Republicans refused. Not only did they refuse, they spent the last few days spreading a crock of bullshit about how Democrats want free health care for undocumented immigrants, which is patently false, and even their own conservative news has fact-checked them on this. While Democrats were ready to get to work to avoid this whole mess, Trump was on a fucking golf course truthing pictures of Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero, and Mike Johnson canceled work. To make a long story short, Republicans shut the government down because they're obsessed with taking away your health care. Not inflation, not jobs, not safety. Your health care.
Here we are in Washington with more than 20 million Americans about to see their health premiums double or worse, on top of all the other Trump cost increases in groceries and electric bills and home insurance and all the rest of it. And the House isn't even here. They've gone into hiding someplace. The Senate is leaving after these votes so that the Republicans can go to a fancy resort for a big fundraiser. The vice president is saying we're having a good time. The president is putting out weirdo tweets. And Russell Vogt, the OMB chief, is sharpening his knives to do something that one senator said has been his dream since puberty, to hurt people.
Holy crap. Do you want to see exactly how much your bill is going to go up if these ACA tax credits don't get extended, if Republicans get their way? Just check this out and wait till the end so you can learn the most ironic thing about all of this.
If they expire, it becomes a very different ballgame. 4 million people become uninsured almost immediately based on some estimates out there. Dramatic rate hikes would follow as well. How high would those rate hikes be? Well, if you were making $18,000 a year, not much, your current premium for this is $0. That's great, but then $378 is your new premium. $378 is the change. If you're making $35,000 a year, your current premium, $1,033. Your new premium, if it expires, look at that, more than double, so up 15, almost 1,600. And if you're 55,000, 4,000 jumps up to 478, another giant jump there. And look at this on what they call higher earners. Imagine an older couple out there who's making $85,000 a year. That's not that's not billionaires or anything like that, but that's a higher earner in this case. Here's their current premium, $7,225 per year. That's 8.5% of their income. That's sort of the top end under the current rules. Under the change, if it expires, that will jump to $25,000 per year, 30% of their income for the year. That's a tough thing.
Do you see those increases? They are staggering. And yet Republicans won't even come back to DC to talk about extending these tax credits. It's unbelievable. But let's get to the ironic part now. Guess who is the most affected by this if it happens?
These are the hardest hit states if the credits expire. California, Texas, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina. That's where you have the highest number of enhanced subsidy recipients. And this one, all voted red in the last presidential election. The truth is, if these expire, this is going to hit a lot of people in this country, millions of people, and a lot of them in red states that backed Donald Trump.
Crazy, right? And this is why we're starting to see people like Marjorie Taylor Greene come out in favor of extending these subsidies because her kids, she realized, are about to see their bills double. She literally knows they can't afford them. It'd be nice if Republicans cared when it didn't affect.
We all have to get behind the Democrats calling for a shutdown. And Trump supporters, I am talking to you too. We need the Affordable Care Act subsidies to become permanent. And over 50 conservative groups are urging Trump to let them expire. And let me tell you, this is one example of the math. A couple who are 55 years old, collectively bringing in $85,000 a year, currently pay, on average, in healthcare premiums, $7,500 a year. If these Affordable Care Act subsidies expire, their premium, are you listening to me, Trump supporters? Their premium jumps to $24,000 a year. So while the billionaire class continues to become ungodly wealthy under this administration, private healthcare insurers and all of their executives are going to make a shit ton of money because they'll get to charge you another $17,000 a year Just a couple making $85,000 a year. A lot of us don't make that much. Who can afford to have 25% of their income go to healthcare premiums? We're just going to become uninsured. No one's going to be able to afford that. Are you ready for this, Trump supporters? Instead of owning the libs, can we not all get together and agree this is really, really, really bad and it's okay to jump sides one issue at a time? Can you
Let me put you on game. The president and the member of Congress, their money is constitutional. It's protected and funded through mandatory spending. But you know who it's affecting? The poor working class people who have to show up to work and work until they figure it out. How long it's going to be? Who's going to pay their mortgage? Who is going to, buy food? They could just shut the shit down. But guess what? These poor working class people can't go to their bill collectors and tell them they ain't got the money this month. So how are we going to do this? Let me hear. Come, let's talk about this.
I want to break down for you why Donald Trump and the Republicans' plan for health insurance is so devastating. They have shut down the federal government to avoid extending the tax credits that make health insurance affordable. And let's break down in real terms what that means. So if you're in your mid-50s, you live in East Hartford, Connecticut, you've got an annual income of $95,000. Right now you pay a lot of money, but under their plan, starting January 1st, you'd pay $1,935 more each month for your health insurance. If you're in your late 30s, you're an individual, single, you make $40,100 and you live in Windsor, you would see your premium payments increase by $133 a month. And if you're an individual in your early 60s living in Bristol, let's say you make $28,740 a month, you'd see your premiums go up $250.
Trump, the Democrats got you messed up. They want you to send $200 billion to undocumented illegal immigrants so they can have access to free health care. While some Americans don't even have health care. Veterans out here are homeless, and some Americans don't even know how they're going to pay their bills. Now let's make America great again.
Guys, this is why education is super important. Undocumented immigrants pay billions in taxes every single year. They contribute to this country even without getting full benefits back. Meanwhile, Trump sent $20 billion to Argentina and they don't even pay US taxes. And on top of that, Republicans raised the debt ceiling by $4 trillion just to give billionaires massive tax cuts. That's real money that the US government could have used to help real people and not the ultra rich. Democrats are trying to restore Medicaid and marketplace access to where they were earlier this summer. That means
immigrants aren't eligible for health care. Never have been. The government shut down because they're trying to make your insurance premiums higher. They're not trying to give immigrants health care. I don't know.
Donald Trump and the Republicans are threatening to shut down government because they rather take health care away from millions of people than keep the government open. Look, at the end of the month, the federal government runs out of money, and that means Congress needs to pass a new budget. But here's the thing. This budget fight is about saving health care for millions of people. Health insurance premiums are skyrocketing. Hospitals and clinics are closing. Cancer treatment for children is being canceled. Why? All because Republicans in Congress gut.
I don't know if y'all know this or not, but the government may be about to shut down. So basically, the funding for the government expire here shortly. I think September 30th. So basically, what happens is the Senate has to have 60 votes to pass the budget. There's not 60 Republicans. So that means some Democrats have to vote for this budget. The Democrats basically said, what we gonna get for our vote? We not just giving y'all our vote just because. We got to negotiate, which is typical of the process because you have to negotiate to get these people vote. Trump said he ain't negotiating, just do it without the Democrats. Thing is, you can't do it without the Democrats because you need 60 votes. They don't got 60 votes. So now the White House and Trump them saying that, oh well, if the government shut down, we're just gonna fire a whole bunch of federal workers, and they're instructing their agencies to create a mass firing plan. This is because the Republicans don't want to negotiate the budget, which they should do because they need Democrats to pass it. Yeah, And the reason that the government always is about to shut down is because instead of creating a budget and doing the appropriation process like they're supposed to, they just